and I have been working in the garden this morning, and we harvested some of our carrots. They needed thinned out because we did not thin them near enough whenever we planted the seed, because we tried pulling weeds, but it would just pull up the actual carrots. So there's weeds in there smothering them out, and there's too many carrots. So our carrot harvest it's better than we've ever had before, don't get me wrong, but there are quite a few deformed nubs and stuff. But Ben is out there still picking. The sink is full of tomatoes, and Ben is out there picking beans right now, and there's peppers left to pick. So, and I think there's some corn left too. We harvested our corn probably about 2 weeks ago and harvested the majority of it. But we have had the best garden season ever, but we've had the rainiest year. We'll have a couple days of just heat and sunshine, and then we have a whole bunch of rain. Like this year, I'm pretty sure we've only had to water the garden twice. So that says a lot right there, because normally we have to water it like 2 to 3 times a week. So we're honestly drowning in water, and the garden has stayed a mud pit. And we gave up on weeds. I did probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and now it's just focusing all on harvest and trying to get in there to get everything out. So I got some zucchini here. Those I'm going to freeze some of them, and then the seeds and everything, those go to the hogs and chickens. The tops, I'm going to work on cutting these up for carrots. The carrots, the tops I'm just going to cut off, but we are going to be storing these in dirt down in the cellar. And this is our first year ever storing in the cellar, so this is going to be trial and error, honestly. I need to get a big bucket for scraps. But like I was saying, is this is our first year ever storing down in the cellar. Last year we did not have the cellar, and we have never tried storing long term before. So I'm very curious to see how it goes. But for me, all I can do is just research and hope for the best. I think this is the biggest carrot that we got out of the garden, and I'll have to look back at what kind of carrots I grew. I'm pretty sure they're Davenports is what I grew, and they're supposed to get 5 to 7 inches long, and they are a storage carrot. So that was the one thing that I did look for whenever I was growing carrots, was just making sure that it is a storage crop. You have to make sure that for really whatever you're putting for storage, you have to make sure it can store, because some of them are not meant to be stored, so they will spoil very quickly. But I'm going to cut these tops off and just leave them set on the counter. We have to go to town actually and go get some sterile dirt is what we're going to get. So I know a lot of people use sand. I've seen some people use wood chips. But for now, I'm just going to cut these tops off and let them sit here until we have time to go to town and go get some dirt later today. Because it is supposed to start raining here in a couple hours. And so we're trying to take advantage of the little bit of non-rain we're having right now and get everything harvested out of the garden. Our beans, we have not gotten our first picking of beans yet. That is the one thing that is being extremely late this year. And then our peppers, we've gotten a couple pickings off them, but they're just not getting very big because we're not having, peppers love heat and sun. So we're not having very much of that. Like, we have the heat, mostly humidity to be honest, but it's just not what it needs. These carrots will not get washed. They will get put straight in the dirt and then directly down into the cellar. Our cellar is just not set up to be a cold room, and ours stays between, in the wintertime it gets cold. So the coldest I've ever seen it is probably like 36, and that was on like a -2 degree day. But in the summertime, like right now, I can go down there and it's probably 67. It stays about that unless I have to run the dehumidifier. Then it does get warmer down there. If the dehumidifier is running, then it does get in the lower 70s. I've never seen it above 74. So far we're doing really, really well. Everything is stored down there and doing really good so far. As of right now, we have all of our canned foods down there. And then we have potatoes also. I picked red and white potatoes. So the reds, I believe, were Pontiacs. I could be wrong. I believe they're Pontiacs though. And then the white are just Kennebec. But all of our cabbage that we harvested, I only planted 10 heads, I believe it was. And I ended up giving 2 to my mom because she came and helped me work up all my cabbage that day, because I had to borrow her crock because mine has a crack in it and it would leak out on the floor. So she came and brought her crock and helped me work it up, and we ended up making fermented kraut out of that. I got 9 quarts and 1 pint out of it. All of it is fermented, and I keep that in our refrigerator. I don't know how it would keep down in the cellar. I don't know if it would get mushy. If I run out of refrigerator space in the wintertime, then I'll probably just move it down there to the cellar, just because, like I said, the cellar does stay pretty cool in the winter months. So in the wintertime, the cellar does act as a refrigerator. But I'm not sure how it would fare down there in the cellar as of right now with the heat, just because it is like just regular room temperature. Because like, we try to keep our house around 67, 68. That's just how we like it. And that's what the cellar usually stays at. You guys will have to let me know how your gardens have been doing. And I see so many of you guys over on Instagram. You guys have came over there and followed me. And I have started sharing on Facebook, trying to. And it's just so much easier to make a reel, because it takes like 3 minutes to edit versus a couple hours for YouTube. So it is very quick to get up a short form video over a long form. But I'm going to try a different style of filming like this, and I'm just going to talk to you guys like this instead of doing a voiceover. So let me know if you guys like this style of video or hate it, because I'll have to figure something else out if you guys don't like it. All the carrots tops are off now, so I need to get rid of this so I can clear up some kitchen space. All of the carrots I'm just going to put in this bowl for now. But as you can see, some of them grew crooked, which is completely fine. Like, I'm fine with that. And all I did was cut the tops off. And you're not supposed to cut too far, but you want to cut the majority of the green off, because the green is what sucks the moisture out of the carrot. From what I've read, I could be wrong. This is my first year doing this, so it's all just experimental. But we're going to store these in dirt. So depending on how you store them, you normally like clip these off and go ahead and wash them and take off all these roots. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to store them in dirt. So it's going to be creating an environment similar to what they grew in. And this is what I was talking about whenever I said nubs. This was grown way too close to another one, and it had nowhere to go, so it just started going everywhere. Or the ground was too hard, but it was very like sandy-ish soil, so it should have grown really well, and I don't think that was the problem. I think that they were just too close together overall, and that was our fault. Next year we will do better, and we will thin better. It's just hard to thin because you're pulling up too many, if that makes sense. Like, it is so hard to grab a small little carrot and not pull up a bunch. But we will get more carrots. We just have to give them more time. I have a raised bed full of carrots. It's an 8-foot bed. It's a 4x8 that we built. And then we also have, where these came from, we have this same, actually probably double this amount out there that is still in the ground that are small. They still need time to grow. So those will be to come. This is the third really good harvest of tomatoes that I've gotten so far, but I need to go through these. Some of these are not ready to be worked up yet. They're still quite not ripe enough, so that is fine. Tomatoes ripen off the vine, and a lot of people pick up green, which this one was probably picked on accident. But we typically only pick them if they're starting to turn. That's whenever we like to get them. But I don't like to wash them until I'm ready to use them. I feel like they don't go bad, like they don't rot. So I try to keep them just dry and on the kitchen counter is where I like to do it. But I know a lot of people like lay them out single and on a table outside. I've never done that. I don't have the space outside to do that. And our porch, it gets soaking wet every time it rains. I would love a different porch someday, and we've been talking about how we can change that and build one on someday. But for now, we just put them all in a basket on the kitchen counter and let them be, and usually within a couple days they will ripen right up. I made a bunch of diced tomatoes. So I made regular diced tomatoes, and then I did Italian style with oregano, basil, and garlic powder, and I made homemade rotel also. I'm just sorting these into 3 categories: not ready, semi-ready, like they're close, they could probably be used, and then the ones that are ready 100%. So that's what I'm working on right now. But Ben just now brought in a basket full of green beans, and then he said there is corn that he is picking. So he's already picked some, and he asked me if I was ready to work it up today, because corn needs to be worked up immediately for us. It just won't last, and the bugs have been getting in our corn. I got everything moved over here to this table, and the green beans, I didn't have room up there, but I did get the kitchen cleaned. So while Ben is gonna go shuck some corn, the sweet potatoes were not ready, so they need more time, but the sweet corn, it needs shucked and it needs worked up today. So he's gonna go work on that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and break and string these beans. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these worked up while he is shucking the corn, and then whenever he's done with the corn, he'll bring it in. That way I can start processing it. So Ben got the corn shucked for me, and it is in this bucket in water. There's some worms in it, so I'm gonna have to scrub it really good whenever I go to clean it. But I need to start washing some, but I need to go down to the cellar, go get my jars and bring those up so that they can start sanitizing, because I just do that in a vinegar bath up here. And then I was working on breaking beans. I didn't even get probably a quarter of the way done. So I need to move on to the corn, and the beans can wait for a little bit. I need to get a flat of regular mouth pint. This will be for the corn. And these are not opened yet, but the rest of them I've already opened and used. So we're on to jars that have never been used now. And then I need a flat of quarts. These will be for green beans, and then I'll probably have to come down and get another flat of these for salsa. So far this year, I've canned 26 pints of corn, and we still have our late corn that is growing. It won't be ready to harvest until later this fall, but we're hoping that will give us a good crop because we are only about halfway there. We like to allot for 52 cans down in the cellar before winter comes, just so that we can plan on having 1 can per week for the year. That usually seems to be about what we eat. A week of corn and green beans is usually a can of each, and we still need quite a few to get us there, but either way I think we'll be okay. My mom and dad ended up coming over this day, so that's why the style of video ended up changing, just because I do not like to film with my family here. I just like to be present with them and spending time with them. So I just got clips where I could, and you'll see my mom later in this video. She went down to the cellar with me to do the carrots. While I was working on corn, my parents were actually breaking the green beans for me, so I was able to get 7 quarts, and so far our green beans are not doing the best this year. I think I've canned 16 or 17 quarts so far, and that's not even halfway there, but it doesn't look like our beans are going to produce much more. So we may end up going to a produce auction or something and buying some green beans, or just buying some cans from the grocery store. But either way, like I said, we like to allot for 52 cans of each per year, and I just don't think we're going to meet that with the green beans this year. On their way over to my house, my parents actually ended up stopping at the hardware store for me, and they picked up play sand for me because it needs to be sterilized, whatever you use, and they did not have sterilized dirt. They didn't have any kind. So the only thing that they had was sand. So if you read the bag, it'll say play sand, and it'll tell you that it's sterilized. And that is what you need, just because the microorganisms will feed on your carrots. But it was super simple. All we did was start out with a layer of sand in the bottom, and then lay some carrots single, just so they're not touching. And then we layered on more sand and just repeated the process and ended up with sand on top. And as I get more finished growing, then I will just come down and add those into the cellar also. I ended up finishing the day with canning 5 pints of blackberries, but it was another successful day of canning in the kitchen.